Some people have it figured out. Some people never got to a point of intense blackouts and mistakes, and if you haven't, then maybe this isn't for you. But this is for the people who have blacked out multiple times and have fucked up their life a lot by drinking and need some type of story to relate to. For anyone new here, I go by TCintheMix. I'm a rapper, singer, songwriter living in Chicago. Welcome to my channel, or whatever you're watching me on. I'm just having my morning tea here. Already had some Cocoa Puffs. Cheers. Vlogging is tough. Like, getting started is the hardest part of vlogging. I just wanted to come on here because today marks 1 year free of alcohol in my life. So I guess I've been 1 year Cali sober, is what I looked it up yesterday to make sure. Cali sober is just smoking weed, and then you do like psychedelics. I haven't done psychedelics in the last year, but obviously smoking weed, yeah. The thing that a lot of people always assume when I tell them I'm sober, they say, "Oh, so you were an alcoholic," or "Well, how bad was it?" And that's the thing, is it wasn't like at a point where I was just slamming alcohol, but more that I moved up to the city and I've lived on my own for the last 2.5 years about. And I think that's what really kind of woke me up on it, was drinking alone, man. That shit is so lame. I mean, to any of my fans or supporters who do watch this and do drink by themselves, to each their own, but for me, it was never a positive experience. It was just burying my sadness with trying to drink, and it didn't help at all. It didn't help. And there are moments where it did get bad, and we'll get to that obviously as well. But now what led me to stop was just, I finally just got to a point where I realized it just isn't for me anymore. It's just not bringing me value. And I think that comes with maturity and self-awareness and just stuff that you might not catch until you're in your later years, or your higher 20s. When did drinking start? Because, see, I came up in a more, I wouldn't say like super conservative family, but a religious family. So drinking never was really around in my childhood, Mom never drank. Dad was a pastor. And so alcohol was never around. Even family functions, alcohol was never around. Maybe visiting like a certain relative, and maybe they would drink a little, but it was never just like out in the open at a party, or family events were dry, to be honest. So I guess what I'm saying is I never saw the example set of like how to properly drink or how to casually drink. You know what I mean? The example was never set. High school is where it all starts, right? So what's crazy is there's some friends who did start a little earlier in middle school, and I just couldn't believe that. I was like, whoa, you're drinking? We're in 8th grade, like, how dare you? How could you? How could you drink? You're in 8th grade. And then, of course, the following year is when I started, so it's kind of hypocritical. But yeah, I'd say it started for me at 14 or 15. I think 14. Started off with, UV blue. That's what it was. UV blue. Yep. Great way to start. Because beer, I couldn't handle beer. Beer tasted so bad to me. Because this buddy of mine at the time had a basement. And I think we would just take UV blue and lemonade and mix that. I think that's kind of where I caught my first buzz. And then eventually he would have like a little party, because that particular friend had parents who would, you know how it goes. The parents that are the cool parents that let people drink as long as they stay smart about it and stay in the basement or whatever, right? So this was like a little party that this buddy at the time had, girls and guys. I mean, we'd play music. We were playing like Bass Hunter. Bass Hunter, man. Oh, good times. Playing Bass Hunter, lights were low, UV blue, dancing on girls. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I want this for the rest of my life. I never want to not be doing this. And of course, at the beginning, it's great because you don't even know what a hangover is. Hangovers don't happen right away. So you're like, never will I not do this anymore. Like, I have to continue this for the rest of my life. And then, of course, it graduates because from there, I said, okay, I've figured out alcohol's pretty cool. And then it got to a point, still in younger high school years, where sorry if I'm snitching on my brother, but my brother turned 21, and he had a house party at our house, which was crazy because that was a whole new world to me because we never had that, Brother had a 21st birthday party at our house, so that had older people, and when I say older, I mean like 5 years plus older. So that opened up my world to, okay, these older people think I'm cool now, and this is a whole new environment. I want to be in this forever. I always want to be impressing the older people. And it just felt so cool. I felt so respected because, oh my gosh, these people that are 21, 22, and here I am 15, and they think I'm cool. I always want to do this. This is awesome, So, we had a house party. And that, what it does is it opens you up to new relationships, new friendships, even if they're not very legit, because what are they based on? They're based on drinking. Like, that's the only thing that they all have in common. So you think, oh, wow, all these people respect me now. This is a whole new life. This is a whole new lane. Okay, so fast forward. That leads to telling mom that I'm going to hang out with some guys to play some video games down the street, when really I'm going to hang out with these guys who are 5-6 years older than me but have alcohol, and it's free because I'm too young and stupid to know I should be paying for it. In high school, you meet more people, and you realize they're starting to drink as well. So it's fun. It's so exciting at first. That first couple years, it's a whole new world. And you realize like how much more fun it is to listen to music and just games, whatever, right? So yeah, high school years of drinking, it was, that is also when hangovers eventually got introduced. You finally figure out what a hangover is. I loved the confidence it gave me, the fake confidence that it gave me of talking to girls, even though, gosh, the things I would say because of alcohol, like, what a joke. But it was just fun. It gave me an excuse to text girls things that I wouldn't usually text them, but it gave me that false confidence that, I can say this now because I have an excuse. When really, I probably would have said that stuff anyway, but because of the alcohol, it made me like, okay, well, at least I have an excuse now to say, I was drunk, aka drunk text. For those who know, drunk text, right? Like, in high school, I was given a fake ID, so I was that cool friend. I could go buy alcohol for all my buddies whenever, because this ID matched up enough that it looked just like me, kind of. If I wore glasses, it looked just like me, so it worked. You got to meet more people, because the older you get in high school, more parties, more socializing. So it just felt like superpowers, And I don't think there ever was a real super negative effect of alcohol in my high school years that I can like totally remember, other than like, running from the cops, silly stuff like that. I don't think anything ever real serious happened to me personally while drinking in high school. I will say too, there were friends that even tried to tell me, even in high school, like, you should probably drink differently because you're making a fool. But I didn't want to listen to them. I was like, no, fuck off, I didn't want to face the truth. I was too embarrassed. And they, look, in hindsight, they were just trying to help me, And I have told those people thank you now, but at the time, no way. I got to keep drinking. I have to keep escaping. I have to stay with this party life. I'm a rapper. Let me just say that too. I've been rapping since before high school started, so that just came with it. I thought, well, this is just the life. You drink, you have to drink. You're a partier. You got Mac Miller, A$AP Rocky, Drake, like I'm looking up to these people. They're partying all the time. I have to do this too. I can't not do this. Now let's get to college. College is where things picked up a level because the amount and the consistency of drinking picks up in college. So I went to Eastern Illinois University, which was just already known to be a party school. And I will say this, I did visit EIU a couple times before going there for school. And one of the times, I blacked out terribly, puked everywhere, made a fool of myself. But again, I'm not going to acknowledge that at the time because I was too embarrassed and I didn't want to admit that, I'm probably not good at this drinking thing. I want to just continue on, and it's too bad. It is what it is. It was just a bad day, whatever. Freshman year, going to Eastern, I had friends that were in a fraternity already. So basically, I already knew I was going to join that fraternity. And, I saw them as rock stars, and I wanted to do that. I wanted the girls. I wanted the parties all the time and all the fun stuff that comes with that. So I said, okay, I want to join this fraternity. And, right at the beginning, we were taking full handles of Jack Daniels or full handles of Captain Morgan, and a 2-liter in the other hand. And you take pulls, which looking back is so insane. Like the pacing, terrible. Especially for me, like I've always kind of been a smaller, skinnier guy. So like, pacing, never figured it out. And people were even already telling me stuff I was doing, saying, creepy, inconsiderate, rude, all that stuff, right? So, but my ego, I didn't want to accept that. I was like, whatever, fuck it, just being my rebellious and embarrassed, but didn't want to admit my wrongs. There was so much freedom. There was no one to tell you what to do. You're on your own. So much freedom. So the drinking picked up, and this was one night where the first serious thing happened with drinking. Not a lot of people were going out, but enough were that I'm like, well, I want to go out. And that's how it worked. You say, well, are you going out? Are you going out tonight? And enough people were that I said, okay, I'll go out. Doing the typical thing, taking pulls. I think that there'd been a week previous or 2 weeks previous where I blacked out, and someone told me they saw me get hit or something like that. And I think I remember kind of like feeling a little sore, but nothing crazy. So I think I just kind of rolled with it, and I said, whatever, fuck it. And this is like 2 weeks later, and I go out again. Well, another thing about me is I've always been a lippy person, very lippy, very mouthy, and not taking shit from anyone as far as talking. And I just remember being really drunk in a circle of guys who were kind of like messing with me, but like I was still in that circle talking to them. And I just remember screaming, kind of like almost yelling at them, like, go ahead, fucking hit me, something stupid, something silly. And the next thing I know, I just get hit hard as shit right here. And I kind of came out of my blackout, to be honest. And I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was at Marty's. To the EIU people, I was at Marty's in the beer garden, I believe. And I came out of my blackout because I got fucking rocked. Just confused, kind of unsure what just happened. And a buddy kind of saw me struggling. So he was trying to help. And he pushed me towards some cops that were outside to go talk to them. I think he meant, go talk to these cops, tell them what just happened. So I'm, browning out still kind of, go to these cops. So I gave them the fake ID because I'm like, well, I don't want to get in trouble for drinking, so here's my fake ID. They're asking me the typical stuff, address, weight, different things. My dumbass was too drunk to be able to pull it off. So I got a citation, or I got a ticket for, I don't know what I think just for having a fake ID on me, pretty much. But I was just trying to tell him I just got rocked. Some dude just punched me. So whatever. They gave me the ticket, but they also said, okay, well, do you want to get an an ambulance and get taken to the hospital. I'm like, no, I can't afford that. Because, an ambulance is expensive, I'm pretty sure. So I denied it. Next morning, wake up, face swollen, feeling terrible because the hangover's kicking in now. And reality's kicking in. And I'm like, this hurts more than usual. Like, something's wrong. Go to get some x-rays. Jaw is broken. Second month in college, broken jaw. So that led to a depression. And see, that should have been it. That should have been my wake-up call to at least cut back hard on alcohol. They give me hydrocodone. So that was like the bonus. That was the only silver lining of getting my jaw broken, was the best liquid drug I've ever been given. So I'm taking shots of that to deal with this pain with a wired jaw shut. Eating noodles that's the best thing I could eat with my wired jaw was noodles. So I'm just, sucking those through. Keep in mind, this all happened as soon as homecoming was approaching in college. And homecoming is huge for college because that's a full week of themed parties and you're matched up with a sorority. And you think I'm going to miss out on that? Fuck no. So I said, okay, I got this broken jaw, wired shut, taking shots of hydrocodone every day just to deal with the pain. Looking like a fool. But I had to face that. I had to face everybody and just looking stupid. So, of course, I drank even more because I was so embarrassed. There were nights where, and I was still blacking out with my wired jaw shut. You know how dangerous that is? Because you could have a reaction with the hydrocodone and puke, but if you're puking and your mouth is wired shut, it doesn't get out enough, so you could choke on your own vomit and die. But I didn't give a fuck. I was so depressed and so embarrassed that I said, no, I'm going to keep drinking. I'm not going to miss these parties. I'm going to continue to do this. And my poor, friends of mine that were just like, what are you doing? But I said, I don't give a fuck. Because that was who I was. I didn't give a fuck. And I don't know if I even, just to be blunt, like, I was very depressed and I didn't really care about my life at that time. Because I felt so stupid for fucking up so hard that early in college. So there was a night where I did black out. I was in the shower, I was walking around stupid, like in the fraternity showers, and like a buddy caught me and like was worried he was going to have to cut my wires because I was so fucked up, But yeah, so that that was the first like big major fuck up on alcohol. Big major fuck up. And that was the first like time where I realized, well, I didn't realize, but I realize now, but that was life telling me, hey, you're doing too much, And then all I did was I just picked it up. I just went more because I didn't want to deal with the facts about what happened. I was so embarrassed, and I was also so confused about what had happened because I really didn't know why I got hit. And looking back, obviously, I should have gone to the bar the next day. I should have gotten the camera footage. I should have sued the fuck out of this guy because now I have, permanent. This is a permanent scar here, whatever. But definitely could have sued the guy. Didn't do it, but I should have. Didn't think to. I was too embarrassed of what had happened. And of course, even that year, I had a class with the guy who broke my jaw. And my dumbass stayed in that class. And I had to see this guy. And I didn't do anything about it. He was huge. Still was huge. I think I was just so scared. And I wanted him to like me. That's what's fucked up. I wanted this guy to like me because I felt so dumb for what had happened. I remember we had to like be in a group thing. And I'm looking at this guy knowing he's the one who broke my jaw. And I didn't do anything about it. So just a fucked up time, man. So anyway, that was the first big red flag of drinking. Eventually the jaw healed enough. and made it through my freshman year of college. It was just such a waste of, I just wasted that whole year though. Like, I barely passed my classes, failed a couple, failed the class that the jawbreaker guy was in. I failed that class. What a waste of time. So stupid, but whatever. Let's fast forward here. Sophomore year of college, I couldn't afford to go back to Eastern that next year because I didn't stay on top of the financial aid stuff as well. So skipped a whole year. And I think that's what kept me alive, to be honest, because I think if I would have gone back that sophomore year to Eastern, I don't know what would have happened. I think I needed that break. So I took a year off and went to KCC, community college, worked at Kmart, and just kind of focused on my music. But it was a depressing time because I had to deal with I didn't know how to deal with the reality of what had happened. And I just was beating myself up in my head that whole year about how stupid I was for making that decision. And still was drinking, but not near as much because, I'm at home and there wasn't much going on. So I think that helped me kind of collect myself, find myself again back to my music and just kind of having fun with music, whatever. Then, junior year, went back to Eastern. And I don't think really there wasn't as much crazy stuff that happened for the rest of my college career as far as like drinking moments and red flags, but more just like unfortunately I found a better balance of drinking and wasn't blacking out near as much. Still blacked out a lot and stuff, but not as like major as like my freshman year, which was like every other night blacking out, just forgetting everything. So I kind of figured it out. Got through college, graduated, cool. You would think that'd be it, right? You would think, okay, figured out drinking, college is over, binge drinking is kind of done, so how could it get worse? What else could happen? Found someone who I dated for like 5 months, right? At the end of my college career. And this person was a little bit younger, so they had to stay back at college. Broke up. Didn't take it well, obviously. I think that's what kind of started picking up drinking a little bit more again because I was so depressed and felt like a loser for being broken up with. And that's what led to the terrible concept of, okay, let me just get really drunk, call this person whenever I want. Because the thing is, this person would answer the phone, which is a mistake, but they would. And that just went down a dark path because then I would just get drunk and call them and just feel like a fool, I say that because this is leading to the next big moment. This is after college. I'm probably 24, maybe 25. So I'd moved out of my parents' house into a place with a buddy. We're living there. And another buddy of mine had just gotten an apartment with his girlfriend. So we were going up to see them. And at the time, I was still drinking, and I was doing dabs, and just doing Adderall and stuff when I could. I was at that thing where I'd kind of found that way to do a lot at once. Not pills, but like Adderall. Adderall, smoking, drinking. I liked to push it and do multiple things at once. Very stupid, but I did. So we visit, me and like 4 buddies take a trip up to my buddy to see his new place. And I was just being so extra, like just doing things that, bringing a rig, for those who know what a rig is, to his place. Just doing too much, and that was my problem as a person. I think I just wanted to be extra. I was also just couldn't deal with the breakup, and I was just being such a fucking pathetic, wanted to there's a lot of people there, and there was girls there, and I wanted to impress people when really I was just being a fucking fool. Keep in mind, I blacked out on Adderall. Okay. So I go outside of his apartment because I'm trying to call people, especially the ex, calling the ex, wanting to talk to her because I was just heartbroken, you know? And while I was outside, the buddies inside didn't know. I don't think that they knew I was outside. So they all made the move to the bar. So they all left for the bar. So I come back inside. I'm knocking on some stranger's door. And obviously they don't want me to come in, some drunk idiot. So they call the cops. Cop shows up. I remember just looking over to my right, and I see some guy approaching me. And who knows? I couldn't say it, but I don't remember him being very friendly. You know, I'll just say that. So he tries to take me out of the building. And I'm in my head, I'm like, no, I'm allowed to be here. My buddy lives here, you know. Keep in mind, on Adderall too, so I'm probably super lippy. And so he tries to take me outside. I rebelled. Basically, yeah, he was trying to get me to leave the building, and I pushed back. So basically, he threw me to the ground. I still have like a little scar on the top of my head to this day. Scar. What's that? Took me to the ground. And here's the crazy thing. I was dumb enough. I wasn't taking it serious. I was laughing in his face. I kind of remember, you know. He had a walkie-talkie. I grabbed his walkie-talkie. Cop's walkie-talkie. So that's like battery on a police officer. So of course they take me to the local jail, or like the drunk tank room. I don't know. I just remember being in the cop car and just talking stupid, and got to the jail or whatever. And that's when I kind of got my shit together and kind of shut up. But luckily some buddies, thank God, showed up and got me bail. They let me out on an I bond because they were confident enough that I would show up to court and all that. But that was just another huge red flag. Like that should have been it, right? That was fucked up. And that was like the tipping point where I'm like, okay, maybe this drinking thing isn't for me. That's what it took, unfortunately. So when that happened, I remember getting home the next day, and I didn't want to tell my family. I kept it a secret from them at first, because who wants to tell your family that? And I remember I didn't journal at the time, but that's when I started journaling. I guess that's the silver lining. That's what made me start journaling. And I just wrote down pages and pages of why alcohol doesn't benefit me. And look at all these examples set of times that alcohol hasn't helped. You know, broken jaw, arrested, all these blackouts I've had, and then paranoia and just relationships I fucked up because of the alcohol and stupid things I've said. So the example was there. You know, it was obvious that I should stop drinking. I really had to, because I was so scared after being arrested. I didn't want to fuck up again like that. So, stop drinking. At that point, I did. That was probably 2018. Which was hard because I was living with my buddy still, and they would still drink. And I would kind of just stay in my room, I guess, or sleep through it or whatever. So I went about 6 months. 6 months no drinking. And that was pretty good for me. Still smoked, but no drinking. And then eventually I went on vacation with my family, and we were at like my grandma and grandpa's. And I kind of told my grandma, like, yeah, kind of took a break from drinking because I screwed up. And she's like, well, whatever, we can celebrate now. So then I cracked a blue moon, and there it was, right back to it, back to drinking. But I'll say that it never got to like heavy drinking again ever since that. But it still was drinking, you know. Cause yeah, you know, again, just the being a rapper thing. This will kind of transition, but being a rapper, I always thought I can't not drink. Given I knew there were some sober rappers who didn't drink, like Kendrick or Tyler the Creator. But I'm like, well, they're special, you know. They have a way to make it work, but I can't do that. I have to drink. I can't not drink. If you made it this far, shout out to you. I guess if you're still watching, subscribe, follow, like, share, all that stuff. There's so many small stories too of just relationships I've fucked up and situations that didn't have to happen, but me being drunk and just thinking I could say stuff because I was drunk, and just all the babysitting my friends probably had to do because of my ways, and you know. So fast forward to moving up here to Chicago 2.5 years ago. And, you know, there's a lot to do up here. Continued to still drink. You know, I'm working at restaurants, so obviously service industry, people drink. And I wanted to have like a different start up here, so I wanted to be a little more, you know, it can be whatever you want. I just moved up here so I can dabble, you know. And it just got like, you know, it was fun for going to concerts and stuff, but like I would go and hang out with work people, and there'd be other stuff, you know, besides drinking. Stuff that I really wouldn't normally do, but it was there, you know. And doing this stuff, staying up so late, going home at like 6 a.m. while the birds are out, and it was just like, what am I doing, you know? Because I wanted to feel like a rock star, or wanted to feel like a badass. And then just that next day, just feeling terrible about it, you know? I just didn't know I don't know what I was doing. Like, I wanted to feel like a badass, but it just felt like, I don't know, I was trying to figure it out. So, being up here in the city, it just got to a point where getting drunk alone just wasn't fulfilling me anymore. And I was kind of just like, it wasn't to the point of like, you know, heavy drinking, but it was more just, I was lonely, and I was getting too nostalgic. Because for me, drinking makes me feel nostalgic. And nostalgia makes me sad, because it makes me remember I'll never have that feeling again. So all that drinking would do would just bring up those feelings of how it's never going to be like it was, you know. But I was scared to let go of drinking, because you just think of all the stuff that drinking helps with. Talking to girls, socializing, being around people that probably we wouldn't get along, but that cup helps us deal with each other and find enough of a friendship or a reason to be around each other. Take that cup away, what's left? You know, that was so scary to think about. So I didn't know what to do. You know, I was cutting back, but I didn't give it up yet. So, and also I'll say this, with moving up here, living alone, I had a lot more time to think. And it led me to just a lot of life coaches and just spiritual awakening type stuff. And I just realized a lot more. So I was getting into that, but I was still drinking. So like my mind wasn't super sharp. But I was kind of thinking of the idea of, what if I did stop drinking? You know, like the idea was there, but it wasn't like, there's no way I could do it, you know? There's no way. Until what really did it for me, one day I saw an interview of Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow. This dude is at the top of the game, okay? This is a little over a year ago. And I hear him in an interview, And he says he doesn't drink. And I was mind blown. I couldn't believe it. Jack Harlow, Mr. Player, Mr. Cocky, confident, swag rapper on top of the game saying he doesn't drink. And I couldn't believe that shit. And I said, okay, if this guy's at the top of his game, and he even said that in the interview. He said, I'm sharper. There's a lot going on, and I need to be focused. I can't be hungover. And I said, you know what? If he can do it, I want to try it, And that's what did it for me. That's what flipped the switch. And I said, okay. I had one last time of drinking with my dad. That was the last time I drank. It was with my dad a year ago today. Today marks 1 year. Now, I wasn't going to stop everything. I was going to keep smoking weed. But I said, yeah, let's try this. So fast forward 1 year, here we are. 1 year alcohol free. But with that, I got to be honest about some stuff too, like the positives and the negatives. The negatives, let's say the negatives. There's just situations where you wish you had it. Is attending social events. I've tried it a couple times now, and I'm not gonna lie, it just is different. You feel awkward because you're the only one there not drinking, and it's almost like a waste of time, because it's like if you're there and you're not drinking, like, what are we doing, and you just don't have the patience for the situations, because it's just not. I hate being around drunk people when I'm not drunk. I've always hated that. So now being sober, like, it's tough. Dating is tough. So what happened was, when you're still fresh on the idea of not drinking, you're still excited about it, and you're still like have that exciting challenge of it. So the first couple months are fine because you're still like high off the idea of not drinking, right? So I was still going out on dates. The girls would drink, I wouldn't. And it was fine, but because I've realized how much that the drinking helps with that awkward, meeting a new person. It's awkward. So alcohol is that nice buffer. Take that away, you're just have to deal with yourself and your confidence you have or don't have. So that was an interesting challenge for me. And fast forward now, it's really tough. But there is positives to it too with dating sober, because what it is you see right away if you're going to click with this person. That's what's nice about it, is you'll get hit with the ick. You know what I'm talking about? That cringy ick with a person. You catch it quicker because you're sharper and you can see more what's going on. When you're drinking with the person, you're kind of having a good time regardless. But see, when you take that away, you can feel right away if it's going to work out with this person. So what's nice is I've caught on quicker to these girls that knowing it's not going to work. And I tell them the next day, in a nice way, respectful way. Versus before with drinking, maybe I wouldn't know, and I would just keep wasting time, keep it going until you realize finally. But no hangover, man. No hangovers. I mean, hello. The positives. No anxiety that next day for what you did wrong. What all did I say? That was what really was getting to me, was I would drink and then the next day, paranoid the whole day, trying to reconstruct in my head, what did I say to these people? Who did I text? Who did I call? Who did I Snapchat? And that was always, I hated that part, So getting rid of that was just awesome. And I've really just gotten to know myself so much this past year, good and bad. It's a lot of healing, because there's no other, there's no escape. There's no escape. That's what drinking is. It's an escape to not have to deal with your problems. So with taking away drinking, you have no choice but to deal with your problems, because there's no escape. And people say, well, you're smoking. Smoking doesn't escape. Smoking is, if anything, it intensifies what problems you have. And if anything, it just makes you come up with a creative solution quicker. So at least that's how I feel about it. But like with that, that's something I want to say. I never understood those commercials where they would show people that smoked and they're sitting on a couch and they're flat into the furniture and just shows them being like, it looks like they're like on heroin, but they were just smoking weed. And I just can't believe that that's the propaganda versus drinking. Like, at least in my life, how much worse drinking has led to physical stuff, physical issues, my face being out to here, just all the stupid situations I've been put in because of drinking, you know? There were just so many examples that life was trying to tell me, like, stop drinking, but I just wouldn't listen. I couldn't accept that, especially as a rapper. I thought, I have to do this for the rest of my life. There's no way I can't not drink. And it's crazy that 1 year in now, and I know people like Tony Robbins say, well, you shouldn't keep track because that means you're going to give in one day. But whatever. I wanted to make this post. Oh, yeah, but there was just so many times that life was just trying to tell me, stop drinking, dude. You're not good at it. You're not good at it. And I think a reason for that is, like, look at my life. Like, I didn't have the example set. Even when my brother drinking, he never sat me down and showed me the right way to go about drinking. My dad didn't drink much at all, so he never had a chance to have his first official beer with me when I was younger. You know, we've drank together, of course, but I never had that example set. So I think that's a key thing to people who do drink, is to have that example set. I've kind of rambled. This is pretty unorganized, to be honest. I think that's about all I've written down. But just to sum it all up here, I'm proud of myself for making it to this point without alcohol. But I'll be honest, I do miss it. I miss the thrill. Sometimes you miss that warmth that it gives you, that it's a false confidence that it gives you. I miss the kind of escape, you know. I miss the social aspect with drinking, but I don't at the same time, because I remember that towards my end of my drinking career, it just wasn't even fun anymore. It wasn't bringing me value. But like things like dating, it throws off people because they think, oh, you're sober, you must have been an alcoholic, you know. So that's definitely been a challenge. I miss the confidence it gave me to talk with girls, and like what happens now is I'll hang out with a girl and we just smoke, and it just doesn't hit the same because I don't have that liquid courage to just make moves and go off or, you know, hook up. So it's forcing me to have to be more serious and find a legit relationship, and, you know, which is good, but it just takes longer. And the whole point of this wasn't to say stop drinking. It was just to share my story. And I hope that someone out there who watches this, who is struggling to try and go sober, Cali sober, to try it out. Because, you know, I went 6 months one time, gave back in. This time I've gone a year. But I think getting to this year has been more strong, and I'm a little older now, so... And there's people who have, like my dad, we both kind of started at the same time as far as going sober, so that kind of helped. I guess, yeah, if you can find a buddy that can kind of hold you accountable. My mom's always been sober for the most part, pretty much always, so like that helped. And I plan to just be like this for the rest of my life, because those temptations do come, don't get me wrong. But what helps is I say, okay, you want to drink? Go ahead. Remember all those fucked up things that happened after drinking? And when I remember those things and all the embarrassing things I did, that's what helps me not drink. And it's not like it tastes good. Like, it doesn't taste good. Let's be real. So instead, I'll treat myself to some sugary stuff, I'll eat some cookies or some candy because, yeah, it's not great either, but at least I'm not getting intoxicated and making a fool of myself. And my life has been in danger so many times because of alcohol. A lot of my near-death experiences have been because of alcohol. And there you go. That's the answer right there. So, again, this is all kind of pretty disorganized. I just wanted to try doing a vlog type thing. I just hope that this can make someone realize that maybe they could try not drinking as well, or that they could at least cut back maybe. But I just know that when I heard Jack Harlow say he doesn't drink, that changed my life. And then I heard stuff like Bradley Cooper doesn't drink, and he said in an interview how much his life improved. And I would say my life has improved. It's just that it's still adapting. It's only been a year, But sharpness, I'm a lot more sharp. I've realized a lot more about what's going on. It's like a spiritual awakening, kind of. Goes kind of hand in hand, but yeah. I guess I forgot to say, my favorite drink this whole time was probably a Jack and Coke. I do miss that little confidence that it gives you, the Jack and Cokes, but I don't miss the next day. The paranoia was just not worth it, man. And it's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm going to continue to try not drinking. And I hope that this can help someone else try it out too. Yeah. I don't know if I have much else to say. I think that's it. Again, I go by TCintheMix. I would love to hear some comments or thoughts of anybody else who has struggled, is struggling, or has gotten through it, all that stuff. So feel free to share your stories as well. Hope you all have a great year. And I think, though, the idea of not drinking has gotten more popular, which is kind of cool. The whole sobriety thing. I think that's gotten more popular in the last couple of years, too. So it'll be interesting to see. And if you do drink, props to you. You figured it out. I just could never find that right balance. I got to a point where I had a balance, but the next day, I couldn't deal with the afterthoughts. So hope this helps. Again, comment, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. A lot of stuff coming this year as far as music and content, and I'm excited to share that with you guys. But I just wanted to get all this out there, and yeah, hopefully you guys can enjoy this.